Okay.
What shall we talk about?
This is the part 5, I guess, if you wanted to label it, of our family quarantine coronavirus vlog thing that we put together, that we started 2 weeks ago.
Kind of like an experiment, a social experiment about our family going through this, which I'm sure many families are going through this for the very first time, especially in America, because this is not something that we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to vlog about it, kind of have almost like a video diary journal about our experience to really show to our kids, honestly.
Yeah, because
when they're older.
In essence, we're living through history. So this is like what we went through that first week. So just to recap, if you watched part 1, hopefully, I'll link it below. You can watch part 1, which was basically we sat right here and we talked about what we were in for. I because of corona, someone in my office that was infected with the virus. We all had to get tested in my office and self-quarantine for a week,
had
basically.
To wait it out. Mm-hmm.
And if you've watched all the videos up to this part, then you know that that I tested negative. And since then, I tested again, and that came back negative. So we're good. But in the time that we have done this, schools have closed for now. Going on, this is going to be week 3 of schools being closed, right?
Yeah.
It feels like it feels longer.
Yeah, we're going to start week 3 tomorrow, Monday. Mm-hmm.
And everything's different. Like, it was funny, the timing of it, because up until that Saturday when we found out we needed to self-quarantine for a week, it just seemed like it was just something that was on the news.
Yeah, and there was no mention of schools closing or anything like that. So we just thought we were going to have to do this quarantine and everybody else was going to live their lives just as normal. Right. And
that didn't happen. As soon as it seemed like everything, everything just changed that same week, and now everything is different. I mean, it's just kind of surreal that something. Now, I don't want to minimize the severity of this virus, but it's just crazy to think that something as really small as just a virus. It's just a very bad,
teeny tiny,
bad, like flu that. Just like the flu can cause a lot of damage to people, of a certain age and people in certain health conditions. Yeah. This thing is like that, multiplied.
Yeah.
And it's created just craziness all over the place. And we've been just living it out here at home. We've gone out very few times.
Just to pick up some groceries or food.
I took the boys for a walk.
Yeah.
And around the neighborhood, we didn't really interact with anyone. Our
playground is has a lock, so we can't go to the playground.
So in our city, all the parks and courts, basketball courts, tennis courts, all that, they're all shut down. Playgrounds, they're all closed.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you have a backyard to run around in, you basically have to stay indoors or just take a walk. But even when you take a walk, it's just kind of weird. Like when I went out for a walk with the boys, we just saw like a few people and they're just, walking around with masks on, and it just seemed, walking their dogs or whatever. And it just seems so, I mean, it's weird. It just seems like we're living through like a zombie apocalypse or something.
And it doesn't help that we've had some really, really nice spring days.
Oh yeah.
That our boys are like outside, and normally we would go to the playground. We moved specifically to this area because the playground was like down the street,
literally across the street.
And we specifically moved here because of the playground, because we had little boys and we wanted them to run around and things like that, but we haven't been able to bring them out or do anything.
Yeah.
We actually did have one of our dear friends who lives like a block or two away and called them and said, can we just please use your yard for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, we won't go in the house. So our boys were able to just go in their yard and run around for a little bit. And it was the best
It was
thing.
literally like, it was PE that day for like 10 minutes, which leads me to this. Like, we've become homeschool parents through this, because of this. It's been eye-opening. I think in both ways, because I hear people, you know, say like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to send my kids back." And there've been literally a lot of funny memes out there and videos out there of people kind of like saying, "Oh my gosh, teachers should be paid $1 billion a year because
Which
of
they
what
should.
Which, yes, I agree. Teaching is an important job. I think being a teacher is second to being a parent.
Yeah.
You know, as far as responsibility and how hard the job is. But at the same time, I think we've also have seen what the advantages of homeschooling are, just in the taste that we've had for this almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, there has been challenges because we're new to this. We haven't, you know, we didn't decide this and plan out that we were going to start homeschooling. We were just thrusted into this new world. And, you know, I have a little bit of background in education, so that helps just a tiny bit. But it is challenging. But I think it, like what Marie said, there's so many positives of it that I think, you know, we're just with our kids and we're learning, and we're just learning more about them. Like, that's been something really good, because I've like I can really like pay closer attention to my kids and see what makes them tick. Like, I didn't know that my middle son Blake was so good in math. He's in kindergarten, and he just like is so quick. He'll even answer his brother, who's oldest, questions in math. And you know, and everybody's like, "Oh, are you guessing?" Because he's getting the right answer. But it's because he just has this like mind. He picks it up really quickly, which is surprising to me, because we've always, you know, told him, "Oh, you're the artsy kid." You know, he loves to paint. He loves artsy stuff. And usually people that are artsy are not, you know, science or math type of people, which is so...
Not to generalize.
But, you know, that's kind of, you know, how, you know, mostly all the time we see. And he's good at math, so it's crazy. And then Logan is just... like, we found out a couple of things about him, that he just likes to sit and think and just journal. He loves to journal.
Yeah.
We got him, you know, his own journal that has prompts from Big Life Journal, and he loves it. So it's amazing. He's just such a thinker. He likes to just have like conversations with you, and I've just enjoyed that. We wouldn't have gotten that opportunity when they're in school all day, you know, because when they come home from school, it's kind of like, okay, snack, homework, dinner, maybe a little family time, and that's it. Bedtime, you know, bath, bed, and that's it. Yeah. So this time we are really in the trenches with them, and just learning all about these kids.
And it's just been good to, you know, because you always wonder, like, I wonder what our kids are like in school when we're not around, because we only have, they don't say much, like, you know, how was school today? Fine, you know, that's it. And when you meet with the teacher, they basically just are there to say what positives there are, what they need help with, you know, and that kind of things. But we are getting a glimpse of like really who they are as people by being with them throughout the day, doing the schoolwork, doing the part of educating them. Like, you know, when we're home and on the weekends, we're just their parents. You know, we're there to kind of instruct them on more like behavior and having fun with them and like life lessons. Yeah. But seeing this other side of them, the academia side, has been interesting. And knowing, like, you know, our good friends have 2 sons that they're homeschooling as well. Like, they decided to homeschool this year. So they were already homeschooling when all this stuff happened. And their boys are older. And, you know, when I hear how they are doing, they're so, you know, self-sufficient. Obviously, they're older, but it kind of it gives me hope that right now, I think homeschooling little ones is harder, because you have to get all the basics down. Mm-hmm. And then this is turning into like a homeschooling talk,
like, but teach them how to read.
Right. But then once they get to a point where they're self-sufficient, I think it's like the positive is that we have so much information at our hands that anything can be Googled, anything could be researched a lot easier. We don't have to go to the library and search the encyclopedias. We don't have to break out the Encyclopedia Britannicas and look up stuff. Like, it's information is at our fingertips, that as long as we build a good foundation, I feel like later on, they'll be actually better at like researching and finding things out themselves. Which
is something that we've been doing with them. Like, whenever they pop a question, you know, of like, oh, I wonder, you know, what this is. Like, we talked about some, was it the starfish the other day, and they wanted to see what it looks like or how it really eats, and then we popped, you know, like a little YouTube video about it. So we've been doing like little things like that. Logan's been fascinated by, you know, the whole slavery and Black history and things like that. And he's been watching videos.
And one of his assignments this week was about Harriet Tubman.
Right. So it's interesting. And he's also interested in nature. So he's been exploring those type of things. Yeah. So it's good, you know. And Blake, is our little artist, has been loving all the YouTube videos of different artists and cartoonists that have been doing classes. So he just sits there and does such a phenomenal job.
We found a really great YouTube channel. I'll link it below, where, you know, we've been doing, if you follow us on Instagram, which you should, Jedi Toy Masters or the Maurice Mercado and Simply Made Fancy, I'll put them all underneath. We've been sharing in our stories, you know, we have our little art time and we do this drawing class with them. And it's just, you know, it all in all, I'll just say that it shed new light. Some stuff we already knew, and it just kind of confirmed other things. And it also gave us a quick wake-up call of like, yeah, it's real. This is how real it is. Homeschooling is not easy. It's, I think, rewarding, but it's not easy. Yeah. It's a lot of work, a lot of structure, a lot of scheduling. It's been hard for me in that even though I'm able to work from home now because of everything that's happening, you know, my job is allowing us to work from home. And our workload isn't as big as it was because of the situation that how everything is right now. But even the moments that I have to escape down here to do work, it's frustrating for me because I'm like, I find working with them and doing stuff like this more rewarding than my regular job. But also it's a little stressful trying to find moments in the day to get things done. Like, I feel like we've been doing laundry like nonstop for like 2 weeks, and
which is weird because we're not going anywhere, but we just feel like we have to wash everything.
Yeah, and usually laundry night is like Thursday. So Thursday's like we do all the laundry, and then that's it until next Thursday. Yeah. And I feel like now we're like doing laundry almost every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me also, like the first week of our quarantine, I didn't have to work because, you know, I had told my job that I was gonna, you know, I had to like do this, and they were okay with it, and I didn't go into my job, which I work, you know, part-time, so it's flexible with my schedule whenever I do go to work. So it was good that I was more available, but moving into the second week, because of all the school closings and everything, my job decided to kind of reinvent and start a new way of doing what they do, because I do work with education and with New York City schools. So we had to find a new way of doing what we do so that our employees can still continue to work and get paid. And so I've had to do trainings online during this time, which is kind of crazy because I'm doing the training, listening to my videos and having Zoom meetings. Yeah. And then also I have to start preparing and doing trainings for my staff on Zoom. And it's quite challenging to balance it. At first, I was not empathetic to Maurice having to work at home, and like, you know, I'm like, oh, I don't know why he's, you know, having such a difficult time, because he's like working and then helping with the kids is so, you know, whatever, and I'm here struggling when he leaves and does something for work, and I'm left with the kids. But now I'm understanding that it's a juggle, but it's all about a mindset. And from the very beginning, you know, when we got the news, you know, my mindset was, let's not fear this, you know, let's put faith forward. Let's put legs to our faith. So faith, not fear. and then have a positive mindset. It's so easy to get into the mindset of like, I hate this. This is awful. You know, the world is going to fall apart. What is the government doing? You know, what is our president doing? Like, it's so easy to fall into that. We haven't even watched like news, honestly. Like, we just, everything, all the information that we've gotten is really little bits here and there from people that we talk to.
Right. And whenever we go on YouTube, I'll just, you know, you have the top stories. I'll just read, I kind of read the headlines and trying to get the gist of what's going on. You know, but it's good to be informed, but it's also not good to be too informed. Yeah. And especially when you don't know how trustworthy the information is. And that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, but like I said, it's just from the very beginning, we wanted to have a positive mindset because we have 3 little boys. And the way that we take on situations and the way we handle situations, that's how they're going to learn to handle problems and situations. And we didn't want them to panic. We didn't want them to fear. We wanted them to see, you know what? We're stuck at home, but we're going to make the best of it. We're going to do this. We're going to be a family team. And that's what we always tell our boys. And that's what we did. We were able to create a little classroom for them. You can check out the video on Simply Made Fancy.
We'll click that. We'll link that below.
And a whole, you know, schedule and things so that they can feel like some kind of normal in this new normal that we're living in right now. So
okay, so in case you haven't watched all of the previous videos, we have 4 parts. This is part 5. There's like the finale, and I'll link all of them below. But based on everything that has happened, I figure we'll do a little Q&A.
Yeah.
And this is just off the cuff. We haven't planned this. But my first question for us is right now, what is one area that over the last 2 weeks now doing this, you kind of set, like in the beginning, you said, you know, this is like a mini goal for me personally, and maybe that little mini goal didn't go quite the way you wanted it to go. Like something that you had set forth thinking this is going to be like this, and then like it didn't turn out. And I'll do mine first because mine, I know what it is right away. I said from the beginning, and if you watch one of the vlog videos, from the beginning, my goal was like, my temper could be really short sometimes, and I just want to, especially with the boys, and I don't want to yell.
It's because of his patience.
And if I get upset, I want to be able to be firm and direct and kind of practice that and not have to yell. That kind of like went out the window. You know, to my fault, just not being able to control, like, okay, let's just not react, let's respond. But then at the same time, like, you know, we have 3 boys, you know, one is very emotional and keeps things inside and then explodes. We have one that is just all over the place, and he literally doesn't listen. Like, you have to like literally like make eye contact and try to get him to listen to you. And then we have a 3-year-old that, forget about terrible 2s, it's all about the terrible 3s right now, because he is just like all over the place as well. So it's hard not to have to yell to get their attention and like talk over them. I mean, I'm not saying that's what it takes and that's what we have to do. We have to work on that. But that's one thing that I knew I wanted to not yell and be able to look back and say, at least I didn't yell, but that went out the window because I've been yelling at them the whole time.
I don't know. I guess I came into it having so many different types of expectations, but with the mindset that I needed to be flexible with those expectations. I'm a very type A person and very organized and scheduled, almost to like a flaw, systematically organized. And I've had to be very stretched and very flexible during this whole process. And I know that I've frustrated my husband at points and my kids, because if it's not in the schedule or if it's not this way, you know, it kind of like just brings me to a point where I'm just like, like, why aren't they doing what I told them to do? But I think I've done not that bad. I mean, I don't know. I think I've been better than expected.
I think our level of like getting upset and reacting to them is about the same.
Yeah.
not that we were great to begin with. I think we still are work in progress. But I think it's just a matter, like you said, of mindset. And one thing that you told me a while back that I don't know if you read it somewhere, you heard it somewhere, was that when your kid makes a weird request, and your first reaction is just be like, no, we don't have time for that. It's to always think, why not? And I think that's something that has helped me, I think, in dealing with that. It's just the why not. Like, I need them to go to bed right now so that we can come downstairs and do this video, for example. But you know what? If they want to ask me a question or they want to do a story or whatever, it's like, why not? Because at the end of the day, and I said this in one of the videos, we only get one shot at this, and they're only going to be like this once. And the day is going to come when they're going to be grown and have their own lives and kind of like leave us behind in a way. And that's the nature of things, So we just got to keep remembering that so that we can enjoy them. And that's one thing that I think has been a huge positive with this. And not just for us, but I imagine for so many people, families, couples, any type of family unit that exists that have been forced to stay indoors and stay together and stay close, not go out and just interact with the people that you live with. It's forcing us to spend quality time with each other.
Which is one of my love languages.
And it's my love language as well, which is, quality time. And I think
and now we're really putting it to the test.
It's important. I mean, I think, man, I think we haven't spent this much time together like this with the boys. I don't remember when was the last time. Like maybe like the summer. Like if I take a week off work or something and we do something, but it's always revolving around an activity or a vacation or something. This is like, we're just home living life.
Yeah. And you have to get creative. Like that's another thing. Like we are a pretty close knit family. Like on the weekends, we always have a plan to do something. And we always, Saturday mornings, we go off, we do what we're going to do. Sundays we usually try to like kind of chill and be home and do one or two things, but not so much. That is gonna take up our time. But this is different. Yeah. This is different. This is not revolving around any plans. We've had to get very creative. We have to keep these kids entertained and busy and moving and us as well. So
that leads me to question number 2, which is, what's one thing, not the thing, but what's one thing that we can't do now because of the circumstances that you really miss?
Going on our little adventures that we do. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. I always look forward to the spring, and I always have a list because I always have a list. I always have a list, and literally, like, if you look in my phone on notes, there's my spring list of things that I want to do, like places that I want to go to, restaurants that I want to go to, and I'm like, oh my goodness. The other day, I went outside because I had to go drop off some medicine to my mom, and it was such a beautiful spring day, and I'm just like, I could have been at this place that I've been wanting to go all year round, but because of the weather, I wasn't able to, and now I'm missing that.
Yeah.
And that's what we would have been doing now. With any day that would have been nice, we would have just gone, driven someplace, discovered a new place, gone to our favorite places, been outdoors, and I just miss that. Like, I feel like this spring is gonna just fly by, and we would have not done any of those things.
Especially here in New York, we would have missed that little window before it gets like summer hot.
Yeah.
Where it's like just spring cool and you get to go out and do things. I think another thing that I do miss that is not so much like, okay, well, or we can't go out, we can't hang out with our friends or whatever, but really it's just seeing like our family. Yeah. Like, we haven't really been able to see my parents. My parents live upstate, and they're kind of like self-quarantined up there. And I'm just so, they're older, and I'm very fearful of just them getting sick at all. So I just don't even want to go up there with the kids because I don't want them to get sick. But also, like my wife's parents, I love them to death, and even like our brother, I have a brother, and him and his wife have 3 children, and we haven't like been able to see them, or your brother who just had a baby, and we love that little baby,
a little princess,
and we haven't been able to see her. So like,
I feel like she's gonna grow up and she's not gonna know who I am, and I'm supposed to be her favorite aunt.
She's like 3 months old.
No,
but it's like we're missing. Yeah, I feel like we're missing out.
Yeah,
on.
We're definitely.
But
missing time on
that goes back to what I was saying, that this whole thing, I think, is really making us look at what the priority in life is, and who are the people that you should make your priority. And the people that you're missing right now, that you're missing touching and holding and hugging and laughing with and sharing a meal with and being in physical contact with, like, those are the people that should take priority in your life. And I think this has been like a good litmus test to that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I really do miss my family. We're really a close-knit family. And actually today's the last Sunday of the month. And usually the last Sunday of the month, we'll do a family, dinner, like Sunday supper, prayer time, fellowship. And we've been doing that for
almost a year.
Well, we started last
spring.
Last January.
Last January?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like, a year and 2 months.
Yeah.
That we've been doing it. So we're really close, and I'm missing that.
Yeah.
But it also has, like what Marie said, forced us to like take inventory of like who we really, care about. And are we really taking care of those relationships? In the right way? Are we like really connecting with them on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Are we looking out for each other? And that's one of the things, that, I've like been introspective about as well. And every day I told myself from when this started that I would reach out, because our days are so busy and so crazy that we don't get to like reach out to a lot of people, or texting, because I'm busy with the boys and homeschooling and all that. But every day I kind of wake up and I tell myself, okay, I'm going to reach out to 1 or 2 people today that I haven't been, to just see how are they doing? How can I pray for you today? And I've done that, and it's been great, because I send a little text message, or I'll do like a quick, FaceTime or something like that. And I get to connect with them on that level, which is good. Just think about it. If this would have happened maybe 20 years ago, we might have not had the accessibility that we have now to connect with people on a social matter, online or things like that. So at least we have that.
We would only have MySpace to send messages to people, and our Juno email accounts.
Yeah. So at least we can FaceTime,
Yeah. And I think that's the kicker, that I feel like, and I was telling my friend this, I'm like, we've been training for this for like the last 10 years, if you think about it. We're so obsessed and addicted to social media and to our phones and to Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, that it's made us antisocial. But I think now, because this is like the only means that we have to communicate with people and to keep in touch, I think like the opposite is happening now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can go on Instagram and just look at the top bar, and you can see like how many accounts that you follow are doing live streams at any given moment. They're doing live streams. Why? Because it's this instant. You're getting instant feedback. You're getting instant communication with people. You're getting instant. It's as close as you can get to being in somebody's presence. And I think people people are using Zoom to get together and do Hangouts. You have Google Hangouts, you have Skype and FaceTime and all this stuff. So maybe now this will be a way to change things and now use social media for what it was meant to do, which was keep us connected, keep us engaged with each other, instead of becoming just like a marketing tool or something to promote whatever, We're so or something to just show off and compare ourselves to, and
Yeah.
and what we're missing out on because we're not part of this, or look at what they're doing, or whatever. It's like, it's about really sharing, sharing our lives, but not in a show-offy way, but in a connecting way. Like, we want to share this with you, So I think that's going to be one of the good takeaways, I think, of what's going on. So these last 2 weeks have been interesting, to say the least. My last question, I think we've kind of already said it, which we kind of alluded to it, which is, what is something that you hope happens because of this? Because eventually this will pass. This too will pass. And we have faith that it will. My hope is that we better engage with each other, and this will just help us to become more a united people. Like, just that we just would be more considerate of one another, and not just look at each other and just with blinders on and just, going to work and doing this and that, that we would just really be more intentional in our relationships with one another. I mean, that's I guess what I hope would happen. And I mean, you kind of echoed the same thing. So
we'll see. We'll see what history will say about
this
us
time
in 10 years.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting. Well, I hope that you enjoyed the videos that we put out here on Simply Made Fancy. It was very different, because usually what we do now, I'm kind of like the man behind the scenes. My wife is the one in front of the camera. I'm usually the one behind the camera setting things up and putting these videos together. And
he works just for food.
I just work for food.
I just feed him.
Yeah, so everything that she makes that it looks so delicious is I'm enjoying afterwards. So, but these were a little bit different. These were more like vlog style videos. We just wanted to really highlight, because it's so different. It's such an unprecedented time that we're living in right now, and we just wanted to share that.
So one of the things that I wanted to add is that March is really a busy month for us. It's like real March Madness in our home, and not because of basketball, but because of all the birthday celebrations. Just in our house, we have 3 people that have birthdays in March, and we celebrate in a big way. We want to celebrate, life, and we do that with our 2 boys that have March birthdays, and with the big guy that has a March birthday. And this year we've had to rethink about how we do that, because usually it's all about family. We don't overspend. We don't do it in that way. We do it in experiences and just in sharing and loving on the person, but there's social distancing. So we didn't really get to spend time with those people that we love during, those celebrations. So it forced us to really think about, how to do it, how to celebrate somebody, how to celebrate life, how to get creative and do it. And we did it, I had a little birthday party for my 2-year-old who turned 3, and we had it at home. He has been thinking about his birthday for months, and all those plans went out the window. And and he loved it. He had such a great time, and it was less stressful because we didn't have all this other planning to do. And the same thing with my middle son who turned 6. He's been wanting this birthday party, and we didn't get to do it, but we did it at home. We got creative. We made it the day all about him, and not about preparing this thing or having to do this thing.
And that's all he wanted.
Yeah.
And then for me, this was a big birthday for me, because it was my 40th, which it still hasn't sunken in that I'm that age. Because I don't feel that age, but I could have, and I'm not saying that I didn't feel a little level of like kind of disappointment or sadness, but I could have just like sunken into, oh man, like I wish we could have been doing this for my 40th, or gone away, or do something big or whatever.
Which that was the plan,
But we got to have a nice dinner at home. We ordered one of my favorite. From one of my favorite places, P.F. Chang's, and my boys with my wife made me probably like the best birthday video I could have ever created. I do birthday videos for my boys every year, and they're pretty elaborate.
Yeah.
But this video that they did was amazing. And I actually made a little video where I kind of talk about it and I show it on my channel. So I'll link that below. Hopefully it's up by the time this comes out. But that was meant the world. And I think that's ultimately just priorities, just looking at things differently, and mindset, which is going back to what you said, just changing our mindset, changing how we think about things, changing how we act, changing how we react. We should be responding instead of reacting. We should be, just enjoying this time, enjoying the time, and not worrying about what we're missing out on, and not worrying about the should have, could haves, just enjoying now.
And you really find out during these type of moments in life how strong you really are, or how, if you can get through this, then you can get through anything. I think this is definitely a growing process for many of us. So instead of moping around or just, being doomsday kind of thing, what are you really built of, and take that into yourself and just do it, you know.
Yeah, like we're tea bags, and we don't know what flavor we are until you put us in hot water. Yeah. And I think we're all kind of like in hot water right now, and our true flavor will come out. So we need to make sure that, we're good, that we're tasty.
Thank you for watching and going through this journey with us. I pray and hope that your journey is going well. And I know that everybody is dealing with different challenges out there.
If you don't know, if this is the first time you're meeting any of us, please make sure you like the video, subscribe. Make sure you check out some of her other videos. We work really hard on the videos that we put out here at Simply Made Fancy. It's all about DIY and lifestyle. And
it's all real life.
And recipes and, all the things that my wife is, in my opinion, great at. Not perfect at, but great at. She just wants to share those things with you guys. And I think that's really been the goal of the videos that we put out.
And that everybody can do it too. It's not just, magic. Everyone can try it.
Right. And I think one of your mottos, we don't really say it much in the videos now, but one of your mottos was always, just because it's simple doesn't mean it can't be fancy. And that's Simply Made Fancy. So you could also check out Jedi Toy Masters, which is a YouTube channel that I do with my boys, and it's all Star Wars, and it's just my excuse to continue to be a 12-year-old obsessed with Star Wars. Now I get to do it as an adult with my boys. And of course, I have a YouTube channel, which that's more of our family vlogs and some kind of like tech gear and all kinds of stuff that I do over there.
And if you want to check out some of our adventures that we go on,
yes, those are on there. So it's just me. I'm just just me capturing the moments with our camera. And so that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Take care of those older people in your life, like your parents and grandparents. Make sure you're checking in on them. If you have neighbors, make sure you're checking in on them as well. And let's take care of each other, and let's make sure we all come out of this well. And if you know anybody that has been affected by this virus and is ill, just keep them in prayer and make sure you help out the family, because I can only imagine what a lot of people are going through right now that are affected by this. So
make sure that we start a conversation. Please share your comments. Yeah. How are you guys dealing with this whole COVID-19 and quarantine? We would love to know. Give us some tips and ideas.
Yeah, especially if you're also like homeschooling your kids. We would love to start a conversation down below of what you're doing. Because we can use tips. We did a video.
Everybody can use tips.
Yeah, we did a video where we show off the little room that we created for our boys, so you can check that out as well. But yeah, let's, how are you dealing with this? How are you keeping yourself busy at home, or keeping things creative and keeping yourselves occupied with the time that you have now being home with your family? Because we're all in this together, folks. Okay. So that's everything. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.